Section 22, Trust Accounts, Arizona Commissioner's Standards, Requirements for Licensees. Introduction, the fastest way to lose your license. Jessica had heard it from every broker she respected. You can mess up a contract and fix it, but if you mess up trust funds, you're in real trouble. At first, she thought that sounded extreme, but then she saw a real situation where an agent mishandled earnest money. What should have been a simple deposit turned into an audit, an investigation, and potential disciplinary action. That's when she understood. Trust accounts are one of the most heavily regulated areas in Arizona real estate. This section is not just about rules, it's about protecting client money, maintaining trust, and avoiding some of the most serious violations in the industry. Where client funds must go under ARS, paragraph 32-2151. When a broker receives funds in their capacity as a real estate broker, those funds must be handled properly and immediately. Unless all parties agree otherwise in writing, the broker must either place the funds into a neutral escrow depository in Arizona or deposit them into a trust account in a federally insured financial institution located in Arizona. For example, if Jessica receives earnest money from a buyer, she cannot hold it, delay depositing it, or place it in a personal account. It must go directly into escrow or into the brokerage's trust account. Another example is when an agent receives a check made out to the brokerage. That check must be handled according to these rules, not casually stored or delayed. Jessica realized that timing and placement of funds are critical. There is no "I'll do it later" when it comes to trust money. Documentation. Every dollar must be tracked. Every deposit into a trust account must be clearly documented. This includes deposit slips, receipts, and records identifying the transaction, the date, the amount, and the parties involved. For example, if Jessica deposits earnest money, the record must show exactly which transaction it belongs to, who the parties are, and how much was deposited. Another example is receiving multiple deposits on the same day. Each one must be clearly identified and tracked separately. The rule is simple. If money comes in, there must be a clear paper trail showing where it came from and where it went. Use of funds. No shortcuts. Allowed funds in a trust account can only be used for the purpose for which they were deposited. For example, earnest money cannot be used for brokerage expenses, marketing, or any unrelated purpose. Another example is holding funds for one transaction and using them temporarily for another. That is a violation. Jessica realized that trust accounts are not flexible accounts. They are restricted accounts with very specific rules. Record retention and accessibility brokers must maintain complete records of all trust account activity. These records must be kept at the main office, a branch office, or an approved off-site location in Arizona. If stored off-site, the broker must notify ADRI of the location. Additionally, records must be accessible for inspection by the commissioner. For example, if Jessica is audited, she must be able to produce trust account records quickly and accurately. This ties directly into record-keeping systems. If the system is not organized, compliance becomes difficult. Electronic records. Plan for the unexpected. If trust account records are maintained electronically, they must be stored in a way that allows reconstruction in case of data loss. For example, if a brokerage uses cloud storage, there must be backups and systems in place to recover data if something goes wrong. Jessica realized that technology can simplify record keeping, but it also requires proper safeguards. Monthly reconciliation, the broker's checkpoint. One of the most important requirements is monthly reconciliation. Brokers must reconcile the trust account bank statement with the client ledger balances every month. This ensures that all funds are accounted for and that there are no discrepancies. For example, if the bank shows $50,000 in the account, the broker must be able to match that amount to specific client funds and transactions. Another requirement is removing any interest earned on the account at least once every 12 months. Jessica learned that reconciliation is not just a task, it is a critical compliance checkpoint. Commingling. The biggest mistake to avoid. Commingling occurs when a broker mixes personal funds with client funds. This is strictly prohibited. For example, depositing client money into a personal account or using trust account funds for personal expenses is a violation. There is one limited exception. Brokers may deposit up to $3,000 of their own money into a trust account to keep it open or maintain a minimum balance. Jessica realized that this exception is not a loophole. It's a practical allowance. Anything beyond that becomes a violation. Out-of-state depositories. Proceed with caution. In some cases, funds may be placed in an out-of-state depository. but only if all parties agree in writing and specific disclosures are made. For example, in property management situations, the agreement must disclose that regulatory protections may be limited and that the owner may not have full control over the account. Additionally, the depository must agree to allow Adri access to the account and records. Jessica noticed that many brokers avoid this entirely because of the added complexity and risk. Property management trust accounts. Property management trust accounts have additional requirements, including specific disclosures and agreements regarding how funds are handled. For example, the property management agreement must clearly explain how funds are managed, what protections exist, and what risks may apply. This ensures that property owners fully understand how their money is being handled. Real-world example. The quick deposit. Mistake. An agent received earnest money and planned to deposit it the next morning. Instead, they left the check in their car overnight. The check was lost. What seemed like a small delay became a major issue involving the client, the broker, and potential disciplinary action. Jessica realized that trust fund handling is not forgiving. Every step must be handled correctly, immediately, and with documentation. Escrow versus trust accounts. Why many brokers choose escrow. Many Arizona brokers choose not to maintain a trust account at all. Instead, they require that all checks be made payable directly to an escrow company. For example, when a buyer submits earnest money, the check is written to the escrow company and delivered directly to them. This reduces the broker's risk because the escrow company assumes responsibility for handling the funds. Jessica understood why this approach is common. It simplifies compliance and reduces exposure. Bringing it all together. Trust is not just a word. Trust accounts are not just about money. They are about trust. Clients trust brokers to handle their funds responsibly. The state trusts brokers to follow strict rules. Brokers trust their systems to ensure compliance. Jessica realized that mastering trust account rules is one of the most important steps in protecting a real estate career. Because in Arizona real estate, there are many ways to make mistakes, but mishandling money is the one mistake that can end everything quickly. Online discussion. 1. Why are trust account rules so strict in Arizona real estate? Answer. Because they involve handling other people's money, and strict rules are necessary to protect clients and maintain public trust in the industry. 2. What is the biggest risk of failing to properly document trust account transactions? Answer. The biggest risk is being unable to account for funds, which can lead to disciplinary action, audits, and potential license suspension or revocation. 3. Why do many brokers choose to use escrow companies instead of maintaining trust accounts? Answer. Because it reduces risk and shifts responsibility for handling funds to a neutral third party, simplifying compliance.